Welcome to Ethos TV presentations. This will be episode 9. Today we have with us our special guest, Philippe Choinière, who will be doing a presentation on marketing. And actually, this has got pretty close to my heart as I was growing up in a organic body care product business. My mom started that company, and that's what I was raised under and worked for. And so this is very close to heart for me, and I'm excited to hear what Philippe has to share with us today. A couple of announcements. We have three announcements. One, Creating Guy's Garden course, if you don't already know, is now up and available. Creating Guy's Garden is a course with Toby Hemingway. We're very excited for this course. It's going to be a live course where you're actually talking with Toby live in a online classroom environment. So that's very exciting. The interaction possibilities there are awesome, and haven't really been done in the permaculture space before like that. So we're pretty excited for that. You can find out more by just going to learn.permaethos.com. That's the Permaethos Learning Center. Next announcement is YouTube. We are trying to build up our YouTube channel so that YouTube will allow us, we haven't done much with YouTube, but once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are allowed to put our presentations onto YouTube. So if you could, please head over to youtube.com/permaethos and hit that subscribe button so we can get the show out to a lot more people. And final announcement, we have a affiliate program. So if you find that a course is too expensive or you want some help paying for one of those courses, the affiliate program is a great way to make some money. Or if you just want to make some money, all you got to do is sign up at the affiliates.permaethos.com, and you get a special URL you can share with your friends on Facebook, or write an article or a review or whatever you want to do to get people to click on that link, and you'll get 20% of whatever they buy from Permaethos. So that is a pretty exciting program, and it's free to join. There's no cost to it whatsoever. That's affiliates.permaethos.com. All right, today we have with us Philippe Choinière. Philippe is a former professional hockey player who graduated with an economics degree. Philippe grew up on a large conventional apple farm. His love for the land, combined with his refusal to accept chemical-based commodity farming to be his future, he set out to build 2 sustainable brands that draws its resources from the family farms and forests. The herb farm is certified organic, and the Oneka, I butchered that. How do you pronounce it again, Philippe?
Oneka.
Oneka, sorry about that. The Oneka brand is in the process of getting its Bcorp certification. And today, Philippe's going to be going over branding and marketing, sustainable farming, and business. Pretty exciting topic. If you guys haven't checked it out already, Oneka Elements, which is ONEKA elements.com. There's an About Us page on there that it really speaks to his company, their company, working in the permaculture landscape. If you're just reading through it, you look at right off the bat on the About page, they're going into sustainability manners, building a solid foundation with the permaculture principles. And the name itself, Oneka, is a North American tribal name. It means water. And of course, in permaculture, we're very excited about water, and we want to work with it, work with the nature, and not against it. So with that, thank you for being here with us today, Philippe.
Thank you very much. So I appreciate and feel fortunate to be able to share some of our information with you and your members, if I can. So yeah, I chose marketing today. And I want to clarify that right away, because marketing can often be associated with big business, greed, false information, etc. And I think unfortunately it has been used for such matters. But marketing to me is a tool, and it can be used to encourage people to smoke, or it can be used to encourage kids to eat vegetables. So in our case, we've understood that marketing is crucial to small businesses, that are working in innovative, sustainable areas that are game changers, niche marketers in the conscious business. So that's why marketing to me was important when it comes to permaculture, because oftentimes there's a lot of technical information about gardening and plant knowledge, etc. And I found that in the permaculture movement there was a little bit of there was a need for more knowledge and information about how to survive, how to build a business. So there, I'll go ahead and share share the screen. So thank you everyone for being there. I look forward to answering your questions at the end. I'm going to try to be pretty quick throughout the presentation and have lots of time at the end. So a little bit of a background. As you said, Josiah, I grew up on a large conventional apple farm. My parents at one point were farming about 35,000 trees in a conventional way. So that means chemicals. It means herbicides. It means sometimes using chemicals to thin a harvest when there was too many apples. Anyway, you're just really resorting to a chemical-based approach. And as some of those who know apples know, the northern climates of Quebec with very humid summers and short summer season with a lot of insects requires a lot of chemicals. So that's my background as a young boy. I've understood that that it wasn't for me, essentially, and I completely admire what my parents built in their time with what they knew and what they had, because they started from nothing. But I, over the years, realized that that's not the future that I wanted for me, for my family, and whoever comes after us. So pesticides were not an option, and I didn't want to submit myself to a commodity market, because my dad's and my parents' model were really about producing a large amount of apples, adding no value to the apples, simply picking them, put them in big crates, and then selling them to middlemen, to packers that took them, washed them, put them in little bags, and then distributed them to markets. So that's what I mean by a commodity item, is that it's replaceable, it's available in many places, and especially today with the world market. I mean, U.S. and Canada import apples from all over, so there's really nothing special about an apple or a corn or etc. It's something that's very replaceable. So there's a few pictures here of this is one of our farms in Frelicksburg. It's actually on the Vermont border. That farm that you see there is literally the border, not the direction you're looking at, but the southern border of that farm is Vermont. So if you remove that human invention, we're all connected. And these are not our orchards, but these are some of the pictures of what it means to me to have a monoculture. Everything so manicured, everything so artificial, so unnatural in a way. You don't see these kinds of cultures in nature. And I had the privilege to play hockey most of my youth. I played until the age of 27. My wife and I shared a lot of travels together. We played in Europe for 2 years. So we were exposed to a lot of very neat models and different ways of doing in terms of business, in terms of farming, in terms of selling, different cultures. I think France had a lot of influence on what we saw as possible, and also define what we wanted to do with our resources. I didn't write much about Stacy, my wife, but she grew up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and her family were in the wood business, in the tugboat business, and they also had farms. They had cattle. So she grew up, in a farm, and So she has a deep understanding of those systems as well. So we share that. And we both wanted something different, something more sustainable. We obviously were exposed to a lot of organic systems, organic farms, and we thought that was a great step towards more sustainable systems. I studied organic farming with the University of Laval up in Quebec City, and we became friends with. Or when I was done with hockey, we came back and lived in Quebec, and we became friends with a lot of people in the organic world, vegetable farmers, etc. My wife even worked a full summer at one of our friends' place, so she got to really know more about the production part. And throughout the years, we had the privilege to travel to many sites. We had the privilege to go to Australia and visit some sites there. And we went to Joel Salatin's place and in Virginia. We were exposed to many places. We saw vineyards on the West Coast, etc. So that really helped us shape our vision for what it is we do today. Here's a picture of monoculture. It looks like wheat, but to me, it's a symbol of that lack of balance and a system that's very exposed to any temperature variation, etc. There's another thing that I had learned growing up, or I realized about my parents' business model. And this is really beyond the farming part. It's really about the business model. And because they sold a commodity, they were not building value outside of their farm. So when they look at their assets, they look at their farm, at their land, and they look at their equipment. But sure, they were able to put some money aside. But in terms of business value, there was no value outside of the farm. So to me, where was the equity? The equity was in their land. The equity was in their equipment. And I thought, well, what if they want to keep it forever? How are they going to retire? And sure, they were smart and they worked hard and they were frugal, etc. They were able to put some money away. But what if they wanted to keep the farms and travel for the rest of their lives? I don't think they would have the means, right? So I thought, there's no way I'm repeating this. I want to be able to be free to keep the farms forever when I'm at their age, and have equity, have resources outside of the farm. So that, with all these questions, it led us to really search and find a model that would allow us to build equity outside, a profitable business while building equity outside the farm. So one of our neighbors, this is about 15 years ago, I think he started around 2000. The company name is called Domaine Pinnacle. So Pinnacle Estates, I put the website. They are our next door neighbor. And these are brilliant people who bought an abandoned apple orchard, and they used the apples to create iced apple cider. Today, it's a more popular product, but back then they were really the pioneers. And to me, what comes out of that model is that these guys understood, Charlie and Susie, the owners, they understood that you can take a commodity and you can use it, add value to it, and create a brand. And so Domaine Pinnacle is really all about that. This is what I learned through them, is that they took a commodity, they added value to it, turned it into a recognizable product, and build a strong brand around it. Like today, they're sold internationally, and I think that's a strong point. Now, from a production standpoint, we're not repeating what they're doing, in the sense that I'm not saying what they're doing is bad, not at all. I think they're making efforts to reduce the amount of pesticides they use. But from a production standpoint, I wouldn't consider their production to be sustainable or innovative. But from a business standpoint, their global approach is an approach that allows them to build a brand, to build equity outside their farms, and to build a profitable business, to not depend on packers the way that my parents depended. And so that created a possible model for us in our own way, to allow us to operate on such a large scale. I mean, we're not huge, but we're not small. We have a combination of 600 acres of mixed farmland and forests, which in our area is it's not huge, but it's a decent size over 3 different sites. And I knew that to be able to support our sustainable farming practices and production, to cut the middleman out, the way that my parents operated their business, and generate a higher margin. And then also for me, it's all about quality of life. You know, farming or entrepreneurship or business is not about becoming a prisoner or a slave to the very thing you're trying to create. It's about creating a lifestyle, a way of life that suits health and fun. So to me, if we're going to go and work hard, whether it's in a farming business or any business, we may as well do it and be comfortable and have the necessary income to have a balanced life. Finally, the model had to allow us to create value outside of the farm. So by creating a brand that's connected to the resources of the farm, if one day we decide to sell, we don't have to sell the farm. We're able to cash in. It's not our goal, but I'm saying it's an option we have. So we can sell our brand and cash that money without touching the farm. And I think that is a very magical concept, because you don't have to give away everything. You don't have to give away anything, but I'm saying you don't have to sell your farm, the farm that you've devoted your life to allow yourself to retire. So out of that, we created, out of that concept, out of all that research, all that the examples and different concepts that we had, we thought, hey, let's create a business that addresses different problems in the world. And I think water is a resource that's heavily abused right now through farming itself, but also through all the chemicals that we put that we use, whether it's personally or the industries or etc. And we also knew that people's health weren't doing that great for different reasons, but it was pretty clear that the chemicals that people are exposed to on a daily basis was one of the sources of those problems. So long story short, we thought we had this great vision of saving the world. There's 5 million ways, if not more, to do that. And we thought, well, saving the world is a big word, but how about improving, making things better? And so Oneka became a vehicle for us to become a game changer, to provide a safer alternative from a health perspective that works, that actually works. So it replaces more of a conventional product. And it had positive impact on the water and the ecosystem. So it's by no means perfect, but it's definitely has less of an impact than what you would consider Johnson & Johnson, or I don't mean to bash anybody, but the conventional chemical-based products in the personal care. So that's number one. And number two, NACA, same concept, taking resources from the farm. Oneka uses the herbs from the farm, and NACA is a much smaller project. It's not as old. It's only a few years old. Oneka started in 2008 for us. NACA is a brand name. It's the same concept. Why don't you just sell your wood? Well, the thing is, if I sell my wood, if I sell logs, or if I sell whatever, I'm going to empty my forest and I'll get very little value out of it. Whereas if I add value to the resource, if I transform that ash tree or that cherry tree, and I can tell a story around it, people value that. And so we've positioned ourselves as a niche market, high-end furniture, very, very wide, very thick, very long, unique type of furniture. So we can demand higher prices for it, but we're also offering something unique, so we can justify that. and then with it comes the story of our management, which is the way we manage our forest is by harvesting only the trees that are dying or that fell with storms, etc. So, and right now you're probably asking yourself, how are you doing all of that? The answer is I don't. We surround ourselves, Stacey and I, with key people. We have a lab that manufactures our products. We have woodworkers who manufacture the furniture. We're really at the beginning and at the end of our processes. So we manage the resources on the land, and we take care of marketing and connecting to the world at the end and selling. So that's right there a huge insight into how we're able to operate and build these businesses without working 24 hours a day. From a farming standpoint, permaculture has had a major impact in the way that we operate, in the way that we conduct, design, develop our farms. We had the privilege to host 2 permaculture convergences, and in 2013 and 2014, and we had tons of people. I mean, this is not something we did on our own. We were part of a group called Mycelium that put together these events. But we had 500 people both times with over 35 speakers. Toby Hemingway was there last year. We were supposed to have Mark Shepard, and he had Lyme disease the last time. But anyway, we had some. Ellen Ingham came. So of course, as you know, we were there. We were hosting, but we were still very curious, and we attended so many talks, and we had the privilege to also attend Permaculture Voices twice. So Stacey and I were exposed to a lot of different concepts and people and ideas in permaculture, and it really shaped us. It really helped us to think a certain way and to approach situation and design and growth and future in a certain way, and also realize it. I think to me it exposed the organics a lot, its flaws in a way, because I mean, what do you think of a 1,000-acre salad organic farm in California that draws water from miles and miles and miles away? Is that really sustainable? It's better than chemical based in the same environment, but could we do it differently? And permaculture, showed so many different amazing and promising and concrete solutions. So we're very grateful for what we've learned through permaculture, and it helped us from a farming standpoint in how we design and operate our farm, but it also helped us in the way we renovate a building, in the way that we build our marketing business, and to always go for the most amount of impact with the least amount of work. To me, like, the way I like to think of myself as a lazy hard worker, in that if I work too hard to achieve a given goal, or if I feel like I'm working too hard, if I find an easier way, then I make it an absolute priority to design or improve, so that we work hard because we're passionate, but not because we're not critical enough of what we do. So permaculture to me is an absolute great tool to just be efficient. And it sounds so basic, but efficiency to me is the basic of a sustainable business, of a profitable business, and healthy people, so that you can spend more time taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, having fun, and hence living a balanced life. Diversity is one of something that intuitively I've always felt, but that permaculture absolutely nailed over and over and over again. This is true on a farming system, in a business, in a family, to have diversity. And I think in the case of Oneka, from a business perspective, we've tried to build different channels. We sell direct through online. We have a boutique here. We supply health food stores. We supply hotels. Now we start to build a bulk system where people can bring their bottles and refill. So that's that with permaculture. I've got a few points for you guys, and I've broken down in small sections. The first one is value adding. What does that mean? Transformation. And in our case, what the value adding means, I was mentioning a little bit about the forestry or the furniture part. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, how are you going to maximize the value of your tree? If you do it in firewood, you'll get such. If you sell it as logs for the mill, for lumber, you'll get such. And if you turn it into furniture, you'll get more. Sure, there's more work to put into it, but there's also a lot more value in the end. So in terms of herbs, in terms of Oneka, as an example, 1 pound of dried organic nettles is worth about $20. And what we do is we dry them and we make tinctures that end up being used in the products. So 32 ounces of organic nettle tincture is worth $72, including $15 worth of alcohol in it. But that's a net of $37 for maybe an hour, not even. Actually, I should say it's probably 15 minutes when it comes down to it, because we do it in bulk, right? So you can see how much more profitable it is to add value. And then you're going to say, yeah, but how do you sell your tinctures? We actually don't sell tinctures. We utilize them in our products. But in the end, I think to be more sustainable, we have to be good marketers and good salespeople, because it's allowing us to have more resilience and more diversity in who and how and what we're able to sell. And so a question, I try to end every little section with a question. And the question I have for you guys is how can you add more value to your resources, by transforming? So that's burdock root tincture in the process of extraction. And that's for essential oil distillation. We actually work with a partner. We don't own an alembic yet. We don't own the actual tool or machine to distill essential oil, but we work with a local distiller that comes with his equipment. So that's, we talk about collaboration at the end. We talk about leverage. We talk about creating synergies. Well, that's one of them. We don't have to own everything to make things happen. And the best example is our lab. We don't need to own $1 million lab to make shampoos. We can hire somebody who already owns all the equipment. We have our recipes. We know how to market the products. We have their initial resources, and we know how it's worked. We define how it's done, the processes. But I think in the case of essential oils, I didn't know how to do it. Now I'm starting to learn more about it. But initially, we didn't stop ourselves with what we knew. We surrounded ourselves and we partnered up with people who could actually make our dream a reality. Next topic, image and branding. I'll share our story. So we started in 2008. And since then, we changed our packaging 4 times. In 2013, a friend of ours, who is now the CEO of Rise Kombucha out of Montreal, they're now a $12 million company, and they're ran in it's a sustainable product, it's a healthier product. So this guy has had a lot of influence on us, and he sat us down and asked us if we were serious to build our brand, and we said, of course we are. And he said one thing. He says, he goes, have you ever thought that packaging is part of your product? And we thought, well, yeah, but what he was really trying to tell us is that our product on the shelves out there it's how people perceive it. The perception of our products is what people think of it. And not that our image was really, really bad, but it could be improved. And so it led us into a rebranding process. And what I mean by rebranding is we rethought and reimagined every part of information that customers get in touch with, the website, the bottles, flyers, etc. And we went through a rebranding. It was an expensive process. We spent several $1,000s. But once it was done, within 3 months, our sales went up 25%. And this is conservative, because our sales really went up close to 30. So the point from there is it's so important not to underestimate the importance of image. And to think that way is not to be superficial. It's to understand the way that consumers think and how they decide. Like, we are so affected by the way things look, the way we perceive things, and so as our mentor said, perception is reality, and packaging is part of the product. So to me, it's not about over packaging, but this is about understanding how your product or your services are perceived. And in the case of a service company, I mean, the packaging could be the website or a promotional flyer or how you present yourself. It's not so much about, the product, but in the end, perception is reality. So this is the evolution of our brand. Number one, we were so excited about that one, and we thought, wow, what a splash. We're going to be so innovative. We're going to be so fun. And our brand, Oneka, is a family brand, but it's definitely not a kids brand, meaning like it includes kids, but it's not devoted to kids and children. And when we came out with that, within a month, we had people say, well, what is this? Is this for kids? And what's the bird? This and that. So as excited as we were, we realized that we were not communicating the quality that as in the products. I didn't say much about the quality, but we've been growing our business steady for the last 8 years. And a huge part of that is people's satisfaction, because you don't grow a product business by disappointing people over and over again. You build it by satisfying them and creating a consistent product. So when we came out with that, people were like, we weren't sure what it was. So we went to number 2, which at that point for us was a huge improvement, and that helped for sure. But even then, like, people thought, well, I'm not sure how you call this bird, but in French, emu oil, like it's a type of bird that there's products made out of emu oil, and they thought, well, that bird is emu, and so your products are made out of emu oil. And we thought, no, that's a heron. It's an aquatic bird. It's to represent, balance ecosystems and water. And so number 2 is where our friend from Rice Kombucha said, guys, are you serious about growing your business? And we said yes. And so we went from 2 to 3, and when we went to 3, our sales went up to 25 to 30%. Little details, a little bit more clean. I think the little logos at the bottom that represent our different certifications or points of differentiation. And then number 4 is what we've released last week, which is the result of, you don't see the logos in number 4, but they're in the back, but we just wanted to clean up the front a little bit. So that's our evolution. That is from 2 to 3 is a 30% sales increase within 3 months. And so the point here, image and branding is critically important. And we as innovative, as sustainable, as niche, game-changing people, conscious business, we have to work with image and branding to our advantage, so that to have more of our better products and services out there, we need to be perceived as such, as quality and for what we deserve. So the question is, how can I package my products and services to add value to them? So how is my packaging helping what it is I'm actually promoting, selling, making? So it's important to ask that question. Another point I have here is the power of storytelling. And I will share a story or an example of somebody, a guy that we know. And everybody has a story. Everybody has a story to share. Everybody, especially us, passionate people that are courageous enough to get off the beaten track and start new things and have the courage to take on projects that improve, that makes the world better. And this is not by being righteous that like they're bad, we're good, but I think we have to be honest with ourselves that, when you get off the beaten track, you require courage and usually what leads us or inspires us to go into these off the beaten path is an event that happens in our life. It's, you know, it's something it's a trip somewhere, and meeting somebody, or losing an important person, or having somebody sick for this or that reason. And those stories are valuable, and it's what makes us different. So my point here is, this is a little bit of a funny story in a way, but there's a company here in Quebec called Brave and Bearded. And so this guy's story is that he was working somewhere, and he had a beard, and his boss told him, you're going to have to shave your beard if you want to still work here. And so he said, no way. He told his boss to go for a walk, and left and quit his job. And so based on that, he started an Instagram page. And a year into it, he had 100,000 followers, and they were asking him to start, making beard products. So he built a brand. He built a brand. And my point here is not to talk about his business model. And I've got here, this is his Instagram page, and you can tell it's very like macho. It's very, I'm not going to comment on what that is, but my point with what this guy has understood is he's understood the power of storytelling, and he repeats the story over and over and over again. And he's built a following. He's built a tribe of people. Like, to those people, he represents courage. He represents somebody who has self-respect, who says, you know what, this is who I am, and you're not going to change me, right? So he's built a huge following. Again, storytelling. Storytelling is very powerful. What makes us unique? What is unique and compelling about your story? What makes you different? What makes you inspiring to others? And I think by being authentic and it really opening up, we're able to inspire people, and therefore attract a following, which is the next topic. Building a following, or loyal customers. I've mentioned a book here that I read a few years ago, which was recommended to me, and Start With Why. And it talks about that customers don't really buy what you do; they buy why you do it. And I think, especially in our case, innovative, sustainable, niche market products and services, people want to know why it is that you're doing what you're doing. It's not so much about the quality or the features or the characteristics, although that is obviously fundamental. But why is somebody your customer for life? I mean, why are people so crazy about Apple computers? Sure, the computers are working well, but so what this author in Start With Why talks about is that people are fans of Apple because of what they stand for, why they do what they do. So to me, a strategy, but an authentic strategy about building a following or loyal customers, because in the end, if you're going to have a business, you need somebody to buy your products or service. And again, I cannot repeat enough that to me, business, the only good business there is a sustainable and conscious business. And this is what, to me, permaculture and the conscious and sustainable principles allow us to do, is to build conscious businesses, is to build more sustainable businesses. And so we have to be strategic. We have to be smart, and we have to be efficient, and so that we can actually accomplish our mission of making this world better. So building a following and loyal customers with today's technology is something that's very, very achievable. And to me, the most powerful strategy is authenticity. Why do you do, and it's connected to your story. Why do you do what you do? Who are you? What makes you different? So there's a little part about building following. I think it's critical when it comes to marketing and growing a niche business, a sustainable business, an innovative business, conscious business, that there is a direct interaction between the end user and your brand, who you are, your ecosystem. And one of the ways to do so, yes, building a following, having people connect to your social media, whether you create contests or publish content or etc. Selling direct to customers and consumers is something very important. I think today, with today's technology, with the way that the web is working, but also because of the comfort level that consumers have when it comes to buying on the web, we have to utilize that. We have to capitalize on that. And then you'd say, well, why? Why? Well, you are able to generate a higher margin. You get to talk directly with your customers, which allows you to tell your story directly and receive direct feedbacks. It's easier to engage your customers in your social media platforms and build a following or a tribe, which is great for word of mouth and for giving a voice to your brand. I know many young startups that are exclusively operating or selling online, and they don't. Some of those people don't even have a physical location. Like they're capitalizing on the online movement. And then selling direct couldn't mean for a farmer to go to a farmer's market where you're able to interact with customers. This is our friend Jean-Martin Fortier, who's got a new project going on with the Desmarais family. But anyway, long story short, he started his business about 15 years ago, and he's been building his brand and his business with farmers market. So I'm not saying that that's the way to do it, but it's an example of one way to connect with your customers directly and really build a brand, increase your margin, cut the middleman, and create a large following. Communication and marketing. I'm not an expert. I only share with you what I've learned so far and what has been working with us. And I think the most important thing about marketing is know yourself and know your customer. Know what you do and know who your customer is, and to really have an open discussion, meaning that to me, marketing is not a one-way channel, it's a two-way channel. And marketing doesn't happen on a billboard. It happens in a conversation where you propose or you offer your products and services, and you're also very, very sensitive to the feedback that comes. I'll give you an example. When we first started, our labels were not laminated, and we thought that was so cool. It was so ecological, but the ink was leaking. So we heard that once, twice, and we had one of our store buyers said, "Hey, I took your bottle to my camping and I ruined my purse." And I was laughing. I was, "Oh, that's great, you know." But later on, I understood that that was actually not cool at all. And so we had to laminate. But the point here is, when we started to pay attention to what our customers were saying, we realized that we had to laminate our labels. And so if you hear 15 times your customers tell you that your bottle is too small, your bottle is too small, and you have to change it. So another part to me is once you've validated your customer base, you've validated your market, your product, it's important to realize, to have enough confidence and enough self-respect to realize that not everybody is your customer, and it's okay to tell somebody, "Look, I don't think I'm right for you," and deep down you know that they're just not your customer. I mean, an example for us, our products are expensive. Like, we don't sell cheap products. They're not $3 bottles of shampoo, and that's okay. It doesn't make us good or bad. It just means that for some people we're too expensive. And my point is, if we were asking $14 for a bottle, even if we asked $12 or $11, for some people we're still too expensive. So my point is, they're not our customers. It doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make us good. It just makes us aware that we don't beat ourselves over it, and we know who we're talking to, and it just makes life easier when you're able to understand that not everybody's your customer. And this is our case, but when if it's a high-end service, or if it's a specialty service, or etc., you know, not everybody's your customer, and that's okay. And I believe that part of the sustainable movement, niche markets, when I say by niche markets, is as opposed to mass markets, that your market's smaller, it's more specialized, is a great way to start sustainability, because you've got people who are completely adamant and believers of what you do. So find people that value what you do, and allow people who value what you do find you through marketing. So the question is, who is your customer? What makes your products and services unique? So you can ask either a premium or you know, a fair amount of value for what you do. And here's a little diagram: two-way channel, conversation with your customer, back and forth. Feedbacks are priceless. Customers are able to tell you what you need to do to improve or serve better or be more valuable to them. Another tool that we've been using, events, and we've actually seen competitors or other people's other companies in our industry do. And in this case, events to me is about transparency, is about offering an experience. It's about offering something unique, something memorable. In our case, we've been utilizing our farm to bring people and have them experience a little bit of Oneka. And afterwards, and we ourselves as consumers, Stacy and I have been visiting vineyards, and I remember visiting a vineyard in Australia, and that place absolutely marked both Stacy and I. I forget what it's called, but that's not the point. The point was we walked in there, and Lowe's, L-O-W-E'-S, Lowe's Vineyard in Australia, and we were so touched by the experience that we had there. You walk in there, and you walk into the shop, and they actually kick you out. They say, go for a walk, go and experience the place. And something that was truly valuable. They had nut trees, peach trees, little animals. It was clearly well worked. There was a lot of work and energy that was put into it so that people actually experienced something unique. And honestly, it was so worth it. And you came back into a large wood table, and you sat down and you could taste some wine. But to me, that is a memorable experience. And so vineyards, it's common. People go and visit vineyards, but why doesn't more farms open up? Why doesn't more business open up and offer customers like an authentic experience? Come and learn how to cook this. Come and see us. And I think of another example. We were in Vermont a few years ago, and we stopped at a bakery, and they had a huge glass, and we could see behind the glass how all the crew making bread. And I thought, authenticity, transparency, that's what makes us different. I mean, do you think Procter & Gamble or Nestle invite customers into their actual production facilities? They're massive marketers, so they have all these centers for people, but it's not authentic. It's a game. It's to entertain. Like, I'm talking about a real experience. And so we've invited people to our farm. This year we had our first open house where we created a special event. We had yoga, we had essential oil distillation, and I'll play this video that we just posted today. So you're the first ones to see it. Josiah, are people able to see if it's playing?
Yeah, they'll be able to see.
Okay, cool. Just let me know if the screen is big enough. I'm not sure how it's going to play on everybody's screen. Is that working so far?
No, so you might need to stop sharing and then share the screen that just opened.
Good point. Okay, let me do that. Cool, okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'll do full screen.
Yeah, let's see how that does.
So while it's playing, I'll run you through a few things that's happening there, which is the quality of the experience. And what we told ourselves while designing this event was we didn't care about the superficial, like party at night and dinners and this and that. Come and experience a core experience that is memorable. So we had garden visits. We partnered up with Rice Kombucha that I was mentioning before. They were offering kombucha, so people could actually have a free drink. We had Prana, our friends at Prana. They do nuts and seeds. They were offering, you know, little trail mixes, etc. We had a local restaurant cater food there, so people could buy food. They could actually come and spend the day. And then we had the Yoga Tribes, which is a movement out of Montreal. They were offering 6 yoga courses. So point number one, we leveraged our friends, we leveraged our resources to create a very special event. The site in itself is very unique. So people can just come and sit and enjoy. We didn't care about selling products. We wanted people to come and enjoy the day through the different ways. And we had our friends Zayat Aroma distill essential oil live so people could see how it's made. So I'll play this video now for you guys. So anyway, the video to me is about sharing the experience for those who weren't able to go, just to open the door to allow people to see through what it is you're doing and how you live, etc. To really get people into the lifestyle, which adds to you know, customer loyalty. It's word of mouth. It's and it helps build your brand. It makes you different, truly. So the next point, leverage your passions. I think this is very basic. This is not about business, nor is it about farming. I think it's about life. And if we were able to get so far and do what we did, which is by no means exceptional, it's you know, there's so much more we have to do and we want to do. But I think what we did shows one thing. It shows persistence. It shows creativity. We've already, you know, created something new. I mean, I remember coming home in 2008 and telling my dad that the conventional orchard was over and that it made no sense and it was crazy. And he looked at me and said, "Okay, what are you going to do?" And I choked and I said, "Well, it's not about what I'm going to do. It's about the fact that we can't do this anymore." And he's like, "Okay, how are you going to do it differently?" And I really, he wasn't trying to shut me down. He was just saying, "Well, we have to live. We have to earn a living. We have all these farms. We're just not going to stop." And so he pretty much said to me, "Well, find another way." And which is so far 8 years after, through passion, through persistence, I believe we've started to change the way. And it's for us, Oneka and Naka, it's not an apples yet, but it's a more sustainable model. It's a more profitable model. And I believe the earth gains from it, our customers gains from it, and we gain from it because we have a better quality of life. So to me, we're linking this back to passion. Passion is what drove us here, and it's what's going to allow us to continue. And I believe what links all of us, if somebody's interested in permaculture, is because they're interested in change. They're interested in common sense. They're interested in better living in a better world. And for that, to me, you need to be passionate. We're passionate about that. And I think that's what links us all. We're in different industries. We have different projects, different culture, different, backgrounds. That is irrelevant. We're all passionate. And I think it's important to realize that, own that, and work with our passions, because that's where we find our biggest power, personal power. And also, passion attracts passionate people. And for Oneka, now we are at the point where we are in the process of building a team. So this business is not growing with Stacy and I's ability to do more. It's now growing because we have a team of people that are better than us in different areas. So passion attracts passionate people. And I think that's a huge key to success and growth and sustainability and conscious business, etc. I believe this is the last point, collaboration. Collaboration, I think it's the simple fact that we all have strengths and weaknesses personally and as a business. And we here at Oneka try to collaborate with different partners to create win-win synergies. Whether it is to work with a local soap maker, which we just started a month ago. There's a local soap maker who, we don't make bars of soap. We have the extracts, we have the plants. So this lady is extremely creative. She makes great products. So we're sending her our herbal extracts, and she makes products. She makes soaps for us. So it's win-win. She's happy, we're happy, and we grow from it. And we're about to launch a little, maybe a video, we're not sure, but just a little communication about our partnership. And so it's going to bring her more likes on Facebook. It's going to bring more likes for us on Facebook. Everybody's going to win from it. And in the end, our customers get a great product. So an example of joint ventures and promotions together is with our one of our customers in Montreal, the Hotel Cristal, which is a 5-star hotel, and we've been doing draws with them. And as an example, the last time we did a draw with them, we had 150 likes on Facebook as a result, because we are part of the deal for the draw is that people have to like our page and like their page. So it creates momentum. Joint ventures, affiliations, collaboration. And I think to me, it starts with a mindset, not a strategy. And it starts, I think some call it co-opetition, or I'm not sure, but it's the concept that there is enough for everybody. And that when you're humble enough to realize that you've got weaknesses and others have strengths that you don't have, but that we all can, but you have strengths that other people don't have, knowing yourself, knowing your resources, knowing your ecosystem, that there's always possible connections to make. And the goal is not always to grow a business or get more sales or get more customers. Sometimes the goal is maybe have a better quality of life. And in our case, Stacy and I consciously chose that we would not build a lab, that we would hire a lab to make our products, because we're not chemists. We're not really process people in that type of way, in that meticulous way. And so quality of life to me means be good at what you are and surround yourselves with people that are better and love to do what you don't like to do. So to me, collaboration is as much about creating more out of cooperating as much as, as surrounding yourself with people or businesses that are great at what you're not good at. So on this note, if you'd like, subscribe on a newsletter. Do it from a learning standpoint. Just learn from us, because we're learning from others, and we have so much more to achieve. But I think, it is an opportunity. So sign up on our newsletter, see what kind of marketing we do, what kind of events we do, learn from us. I mean, like I said, we have so much more to learn and do, but I think we've established, some basic knowledge about how to build and grow a sustainable and authentic and innovative, a game-changing, a conscious business, while living a balanced life. And balanced life is a large term. It's not perfect. Sometimes it's up and down, but the idea is that our target, our ideal is a holistic life where we're happy, we're healthy, we have fun in our lives, and we're also making a big difference.